when I started cutting bad things out, quick dopamine fixes out of my life, that the bar for happiness lowered, so that I could achieve the same amount of happiness, if not more, and a lot more fulfillment from a lot less hits of dopamine, like a lot lower of a dose of dopamine, right? And it's at the point now where I've tried to create my life around business wins being the sources of dopamine that I get, right? Because I've quit drinking alcohol. I I basically don't do much but work, right? And even my fitness has taken a hit on that. I used to be doing like an ultra marathons and stuff like that, and boxing, which I do want to get back into. But my main focus right now is like I'm in my creation phase, trying to create wealth. So for me, I'm quite happy to go down to the gym downstairs, get a quick session in, and then come back straight back upstairs and get back to work again. And yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be motivated, to not be motivated when your wins and your sources of dopamine come from work. And if you restrain yourself and not let yourself get hits of dopamine, which come from things that don't progress you forward, then it's quite hard to fail, really. So, sort of an action step from here, I guess, is to look at your life and see where are your sources of dopamine coming from. Is it coming from drinking? Is it coming from drugs? Is it coming from things that don't progress you forward? Right? Drinking, literally killing brain cells. Yeah. Is that how you enjoy your life? Is that the way you want to enjoy your life? Coming into work on a Monday with brain fog, having no energy. Do you get your dopamine from food? I'm bad with food. I mean, I'm good compared to a lot of people, but I've been slipping a little bit, right? I've been having acai bowls, yogurt bowls with too much honey. Um, it's all these little things. You can slip as well on the ladder of what sort of standards you keep for yourself. But yeah, where do you get your dopamine sources from, right? Is it stuff it's pushing you in the direction you want to go, right? And you can sort of use this to write down your long term goals. Like, okay, what's your 10-year goals? What do I need to do to get there? What actions do I need to take on a monthly and a weekly and a daily basis to get towards those 10-year goals? And if your current sources of dopamine are not putting you towards those 10-year goals, then you need to get rid of them, realistically. So I would just write down the things that give you pleasure in your life, like, euphoric pleasure, and then also just standard, dopamine hits. What gives you that boost? What gives you that like enjoyment hit? Video games, all that sort of stuff. If it's not pushing you towards your 10-year goals, you need to get rid of it. And this is the thing as well. It's like, okay, if you want to read 100 books by the end of the year, do you really think that if you're playing video games, you're sat down, controller, playing video games, looking at all sorts of massive dopamine hits with the sounds that are giving you dopamine hits, the visuals that are giving you dopamine hits. Um, it's literally engineered to give you dopamine hits. If you're doing that on a daily basis, and then 2 hours later, you've set yourself a task to read a book for 2 hours, you're just not going to do it. You're just not going to do it. And for example, if you have, I mean, this is an example of how I managed to re-engineer my dopamine so that I could be motivated to work. Like when I was in uni, I was running my business alongside uni. Managed to get a first class honors degree. But the reason I did that was because I was doing all this work, which was so much harder and took so much more brain capacity than uni, that when I was doing my uni work, that was fun. That was easy. Like doing my dissertation was easy because that 10, 11,000 word essay was easy because it was just it was almost mindless. It was just a process. Whereas with business, it was like, you know, all the stresses of the income, of the marketing strategies, of trying to fulfill clients and keep them happy. Like all that mental strain was so much harder than doing my dissertation at uni. So therefore, I was much more motivated to do it. And it's like when all you're doing is hard stuff, doing stuff that is less hard but is productive is still good. That's fun, you know. So yeah, look at your current your dopamine hits and think like, okay, which ones are actually pushing me towards my goal, which ones aren't, and you really have to decipher like if you're looking at a certain dopamine hit and you think that it is getting you towards where you want to go, but you know it's probably bad for you, then you need to really weigh up the consequences of it, right? I know a lot of people. I mean, I don't know a lot of people, but I know people who take Adderall and stuff like that to keep them focused. And you got to think to yourself, like, okay, that's giving you dopamine here. Is it actually getting you towards the goal that you want to go to, right? Or is it just giving you short-term hits, which is making you feel productive, which is actually burning your energy out on the long term? So just weigh it up. Good sources of dopamine, bad sources of dopamine. Is this going to get me to my 10-year goal? And there might be somewhere it gets you towards your 10-year goal, but it's going to burn you out by the time you get there, such as taking like Adderall and stuff like that to keep you hyper focused. Don't do that. Just remove distractions, right? And you don't need to take all of that. If you just remove all of the sources of distractions, you won't need that. For example, Instagram. Delete Instagram during the week. Maybe download it again on the weekend and enjoy it on the weekends. There's no need to, take pictures throughout the week, post it on the weekend. There's no need to be on Instagram during the week if you're trying to stay focused and locked in. Look, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but at the end of the day, if you want to get to where you want to go in a quick fashion, there's people out here like me, and I'm super locked in, right? I won't have Instagram during the week at all. I'm posting like 20, 30 pieces of content, high quality content during the week on LinkedIn and YouTube. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be. There's people, way, way above me. But I would say I'm very locked in compared to the 99%. But if you want to compete in the market, you have to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. And this is the thing. The amount of dopamine you are getting right now, hypothetically, if you are getting a lot of dopamine from short-term hits, right? The amount of dopamine you're getting right now is your baseline. Like you have a certain baseline, which is much higher than mine probably. And if you want to get to a point where you're just super motivated by work, then you need to take away those short-term dopamine hits, which aren't getting you towards your 10-year goals. And then at that point, you're going to find yourself being extremely, extremely motivated. It's just a hack, right? For me, I'm really ADHD. So when I removed all of my, dopamine sources, which weren't getting me in the direction I wanted to go, I have so much energy, right? So much energy. So I'm just putting that towards what I spend my time on. And that was just building my business. So I was able to create unreasonable growth in a short period of time.